NFL free agency. Well, at least the tampering period of NFL free agency begins tomorrow. So, on today's edition of Panthers Today by Chat Sports, we're going to give you the final updates and last minute rumors that you need to know surrounding your Carolina Panthers and who they might just sign as early as Monday. Before we get into that, though, I want to tell you guys that we are in an NFC South sub-battle for free agency week, and we've already gotten off to a pretty decent start. In second place in the division, but we're still behind the Falcons, and that makes me sick. So, if you want to win the NFC South sub-battle and you want to be tapped into everything surrounding your Carolina Panthers this week during free agency, go down below and hit the subscribe button right now and turn on those notifications so you never miss a moment surrounding your Carolina Panthers. What we know about the Carolina Panthers this offseason is that Dan Morgan wants to make a splash on defense. The days of the little old Panthers are over. They're going to go out there and spend big. They're going to go out there and bring in some marquee free agents, as all of the rumors out there over the past few weeks have suggested. Dan Morgan is done kind of sitting on his laurels, and he's going to make some big-time external investments here. Now, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler came in with some pretty big-time rumors in the days leading up to free agency, saying the following: Carolina is lurking in several markets, likely seeking pass rush and linebacker help. Players such as edge rusher Odafe Oweh and linebacker Devin Lloyd are considered good fits for the Panthers' defensive scheme. General manager Dan Morgan also was with Buffalo when the franchise drafted free agent linebacker Tremaine Edmunds. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but I'm going to sit here and say this right now. I believe it is a disappointment, maybe even a failure, if the Carolina Panthers sign neither one of Devin Lloyd or Odafe Oweh. They are two of the most marquee free agents at their positions this offseason, and the Panthers have those two positions as big-time ones of need: off-ball linebacker and edge rusher. Let's talk about Devin Lloyd real quick, because he is an absolute freak. He might be the best overall defensive football player on the free agent market this cycle. And it's not because he just flies around the field, but it's also because of the coverage ability that he has. And that's what he's going to do with the Carolina Panthers here. I mean, a 69 quarterback rating, a 69 passer rating being held to as a linebacker is utterly ridiculous. 7 PBUs, 5 interceptions. And this isn't even the first time in his career that he's had a coverage season like this. Date all the way back to his rookie season back in 2022, where he had 8 pass breakups and 3 interceptions. Couple that with triple-digit tackle numbers basically every single season of his career outside of 2025. There's a good chance that if he played 17 games in 2025 as well, that he would have hit that mark too. He's seriously a game-changing type of player. He had a 99-yard pick six against Patrick Mahomes last year. He would give the Panthers a serious identity at that linebacker spot, instantly transforming this defense. Devin Lloyd, in my opinion, is a player that raises your floor from a defense that was maybe, it was 15th ranked, maybe 15th, 16th ranked in the league last season, middle of the pack, to a top 10 unit. But with a player like that, you're going to have to open the checkbook, bring out the Brinks trucks, and maybe have to make him the highest paid linebacker in all of football. I would do it though, folks. $22 million for Devin Lloyd. Run it up. Fred Warner at this point in his career makes $21 million a season. Roquan Smith makes $20. I think Devin Lloyd is better than Roquan Smith. Trey Edmunds was making $18 million before he got cut, so we'll see about that. Zach Bond, $17 million. I think Devin Lloyd is better than all of these players here. Maybe Fred Warner, not so much, but at the same time, Fred Warner is also getting up there in age. Fred Warner's also had some big-time injuries in his career before. So I have no problem making Devin Lloyd the highest-paid linebacker. He's been incredibly durable through his first 4 seasons, and he's put up some video game-like numbers that would make a lot of sense to get a big-time payday like that. Dan Morgan, go and do it. Also, go out there and target Odafe Oweh as well. I understand, former first-round pick, that he didn't necessarily have the best start to his career and wasn't living up to that billing. But once he got traded to the Chargers, I mean, in 12 games, he had 8 sacks. It's pretty ridiculous. 35 pressures in those 12 games as well, basically 3 every single game. He had 8 sacks. That you just can't argue with those numbers. For total, he didn't necessarily have a great start to the year last year with Baltimore, but once he went to LA, things kind of took himself to the next level. In 2024, he did have 10 sacks and 23 QB hits. He makes some plays as well, causes some forced fumbles throughout the season too. It's a guy who's kind of taken a little bit to develop as that first-round talent, but I think he's all the way there at this point. And that's why a lot of people think that Odafe Oweh is going to get a big-time payday this offseason. He also fits Carolina's kind of vision of what a stud pass rusher should be. 6'5", 265, just an absolute behemoth out there, and a lot of people think the same because his contract projection at this point in time is somewhere in the realm of $18 to $19 to $20 million a season. A lot of people think that the production that Oweh has had throughout his career doesn't warrant that big of a payday, but he's still incredibly young. He fits the physical profile that Carolina needs, and there's going to be a bidding war after Khalil Mack just got a deal for $18 million for one season. I think it was fully guaranteed as well to return back to LA. So I don't anticipate Odafe Oweh going back there, but there's going to be a certain number of suitors externally that could be looking for him. Carolina's going to be one of the teams in that mix. Just going to be willing to see if, hopefully after they sign Devin Lloyd, they're going to be willing to open up the checkbook for Odafe Oweh as well. If they can only sign one, though, because I think that there's a decent chance they're only going to come away with only one of these two guys. If they swing both, Dan Morgan wins the offseason, GM of the year. But I believe they could probably only sign one given the salary cap position that they're in at this point. If it's Devin Lloyd, type a DL down in the comment section. If it's Odafe Oweh, drop a double O. Comment down below which marquee free agent you want the Carolina Panthers to sign once free agency opens this week. Let's talk quickly about Tremaine Edmunds real quick because it was mentioned by Jeremy Fowler, and then David Newton, one of the lead contributors over at Cat Crave, said, keep an eye on former Bears inside linebacker Tremaine Edmunds as a possibility for the Panthers. He's an outstanding cover linebacker that would fill a huge need, and he spends part of the offseason living in Charlotte, where he was spotted Friday night at a restaurant, so a natural fit. Interesting. I'll say this. I want the Panthers to go out there and get Devin Lloyd. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But, again, there is going to be a massive bidding war for Devin Lloyd's services. Every team in the NFL that's looking for inside linebacker help, they're going to be looking at Devin Lloyd first as long as they have the cap space to do it. So if the Carolina Panthers miss out on a guy like Lloyd and they go out and sign a guy like Oweh, then look no further than Tremaine Edmunds, to fill that need in the middle of the defense. He can still tackle like hell. He's still a solid run defender. He's actually one of the higher graded run defenders at the middle linebacker spot in all of football last season per PFF, and he still had a season with 4 interceptions. His coverage grade wasn't necessarily that great, but 9 PBUs to 4 picks, that tells you all you need to know. He can roam the middle of the field. The passer rating that he allowed wasn't even too bad. Did allow 3 touchdowns last season, but again, he's an inside linebacker. It is going to happen on a day-to-day basis. He's a tackling machine, though. A guy who's just really well-balanced in his game for the most part, consistently over the century mark in tackles, consistently getting 7+ PBUs a season, racking up interceptions his entire career. And look, he's not going to command as big of a payday as Devin Lloyd here. You saw him formerly making $18 million a season. I could see him making somewhere in the realm of 12 to 15 on his new deal. That would easily allow you to go out there and sign a guy like Odafe Oweh. So that's the case. I would like Tremaine Edmunds if they were to go out there and strike out on Devin Lloyd and maybe sign a guy like Odafe Oweh as their marquee free agent addition. And then, I'd say I call Tremaine Edmunds a B+ level free agent addition here. So if that's their plan, I'm totally fine with that if I'm Dan Morgan. But the number one priority for me, you guys have been watching this show all offseason long, the number one priority for me is going to be signing Devin Lloyd, making him the highest paid linebacker in all of football. Dan Morgan, that should be his priority too, as he played linebacker for the team 15, 20 years ago. All right, so Jeremy Fowler also coming in with this. Let's talk about the backup quarterback position for Carolina. Says, in terms of backup QB news, Mitch Trubisky has garnered interest as a quality number 2. The Titans, Bills, and Jets are among the teams on his radar here. And one name to potentially watch as a backup in Carolina, Kenny Pickett. My question is, look, is Kenny Pickett even a good backup at this point? I know Dan Morgan has said that he wants to go younger at the position. He wants to go a little bit more athletic. Yes, Kenny Pickett can certainly move better than Andy Dalton at this point in his career, but can he do much else better than Andy Dalton? I don't think so. He played in 6 games last year. He did start 2 for the Las Vegas Raiders, and it was pretty ugly. Let's be honest here, guys. 28 to 45 overall, $188, and the fact that this came, including 2 started outings, is pretty brutal. Touchdown, 2 picks, and a fumble. He's not a good player. I'm not going to sit here and act like he is. And he wasn't good in Pittsburgh. He was one of the worst draft busts. Well, honestly, one of the more obvious draft busts. He was the first quarterback selected, and it wasn't until pick 22 in the NFL draft here. He was selected because Pittsburgh desperately needed a quarterback. He went to UPitt, and it just kind of made sense. He was never going to be a good NFL pro, and I'll be frank with you guys. I'm not so sure that he's a good NFL backup either. What do you guys think? Who is your guy? Name a player the Panthers should sign in free agency. I'm not the biggest fan of Kenny Pickett, but I get it. He's athletic, he's mobile, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's backed up some good quarterbacks in the past as well, including Jalen Hurts. So let me know. Doesn't have to be quarterback. Could be Devin Lloyd. Could be Odafe Oweh. Name a player the Panthers should sign in free agency once things get rolling and some tampering opens on Monday. Last but not least on today's show, Jared Feinberg, another contributor over at the Cat Crave. He said, personally, I don't see the Panthers bringing Cade Mays back unless his market value is dreadful. But there are some teams out there needing starters at center, and I'm not sure D. Morgan is going to want to put more money into the offensive line than he already has. And that makes a lot of sense. Robert Hunt was a big-time investment. Taylor Moton was a big-time investment. Damian Lewis was a big-time investment. And so is Ike Ekwonu, even on that big-time rookie deal in the fifth-year option. So it's a situation where are you really going to commit, double-digit, eight-figure salaries to every one of your offensive linemen? It's not the best way to allocate your resources here, especially when Cade Mays was a guy who they drafted, they developed a little bit, and he turned into something good. Now he's going to get a deal. Sometimes you just gotta. We did a good job. We did a good thing. We got a guy paid, and we can replace him in the near future here because Cade Mays is going to have some big-time interest here. I hear a lot about Cade Mays having interest from the Houston Texans. They have some offensive line holes at this point. They've released a couple of guys, so they need some interior help there. Mays could help them. I've also heard him being linked to the Detroit Lions, Las Vegas Raiders, so there is some serious interest around the league. I would doubt that Cade Mays returns to Carolina here once free agency opens. Speaking of centers as well, Connor McGovern did return to the Buffalo Bills on a absolute steal of a contract, if you ask me. 4 years, $52 million. So about $13 million a season for what many people believe is the top or the second best free agent center on the market this offseason. Cade Mays was looked at getting somewhere in the realm of $8 million a year. That makes sense. If I were the Carolina Panthers, I would think about paying that if they strike out on a couple of the other free agents that they have in mind. But with that being said, we will have a video for every move the Carolina Panthers make. Whether it's big or small, you will hear about it. Whatever roster moves Carolina goes out there and executes in the coming days, it will be here in a video right at Panthers Today. That's why you subscribe to the channel. YouTube.com/Panthers Today for the latest and greatest on your Carolina Panthers heading into free agency. Subscribe for more content. We'll see you guys later. And as always, keep pounding.